As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Scott the Scots here. A good track can feed the soul. And while this might be music from the heavens, it's not gonna feed your lawn. If your yard needs some life, then you need Scott's Turf Builder. You just put it down once now, then again this summer to thicken your lawn and get it growing strong. Ooh, that's some lush lawn vibes right there.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder today. It's guaranteed or your money back.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Wygen. Purple Mafia is available on the sportstuff.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and Double Twist. I am sick and tired of the Detroit Lions. I am sick and tired of the Lions coming into the Metrodome and beating the Vikings. I'm sick and tired of giving up third and long, even though the Vikings defense today was very, very, very far from their problems. I'm sick and tired of promising quarterbacks going out with injuries, non-contact type of injuries. I'm sick and tired now of other stars going out with ACL injuries. There are our star running back going out with an ACL injury. Remember, Adrian Peterson went out with one. Robert Smith went out with ACLs over the course of his time. Terry Allen. And obviously these things happen, and it's not the first, but Dalvin Cook, next on the list, and a 14-7 Minnesota Vikings loss. Anything else? Is that it? Can I go now? I mean, I don't want to talk about this. This sucks. This just sucks. You know, you can't even score 7 bleeping points in the game. Oh, sure, Case Keenum was Mr. Accuracy. He was the Coast Guard, and I loved calling him that, and that was so much fun. And then you come in, you're thinking, okay, Case Keenum's actually got a pretty good record against Detroit, too, and we're at home. And, you know, the Vikings' chances of beating Detroit are good at home. Remember back in the day when it took, like, Detroit about 20 years to beat the Vikings in their home field again? I mean, the last time Detroit had beaten the Vikings was 97 in the Dome, and then it was, like, I don't know, like 20 years later. Okay, not quite 20 years later, but it was about 2014, I believe. Or did they beat us? Whatever. You know, I'm not even here to analyze that. Otherwise, I would have had it ready for you. It was a long time. A long time. That's the whole point. And now the Vikings can't beat Detroit anymore. Yeah, we can't beat Detroit anymore. You know, we used to lose in the Silver Dome and Pontiac or Ford Field, whatever the heck it was. Ford Field now, but the Silver Dome back in the old days. Chris Spielman announcing the Vikings for back-to-back weeks. That figures because Chris Spielman was a member of the Detroit Lions back in the black and blue early 90s. You know, if this was a nice little win like it was headed towards before the Vikings got stupid, and then the Vikings' luck got even stupider, and the referees just started to, thumb their nose at us without really doing it, but kind of essentially do it. You know, this is the day that Matthew Stafford wasn't even that accurate. But then magically Amir Abdullah starts looking like a good running back. And yes, he's good. And Theo Riddick has always been a valuable, dangerous receiving back in this league. But you didn't see a whole lot of that today. I mean, Theo Riddick wasn't a big threat at all. In fact, his total yards for the day, 12. Yeah, 12 yards. Really? You know, Matthew Stafford. Okay, so again, let's rehash this. Theo Riddick, 12 yards total. That's 8 receiving and 4 running. 4. That's right. 4. You know, you could count it on your one hand, and you could still count it on 2 hands. Still single digits with his one receiving reception, in the game. And the Vikings only give up 14 points. Matthew Stafford doesn't throw a single touchdown pass in the game, and it's a home game, and the Vikings lose. Yeah, the Vikings lost. And it's not just because Dalvin Cook got hurt. In fact, obviously that was kind of like the momentum killer. But really, I thought the dagger in this game was the bleeping Wildcat play. We'll talk about a bit in the third segment. We'll talk about it now, too, of course, because we're reviewing the bleeping game. And I'm going to keep saying bleep as much as I want, I guess. No interceptions by the Vikings, but there were fumbles in the game. There were just... I'm glad Case Keenum didn't throw an interception. Stafford didn't either. Managed to complete about 61% of his passes, 209 yards. Keenum, a little less accurate. In fact, a lot less accurate. He was missing open receivers. He was literally missing them, and he wasn't even attempting to throw passes to others. He was just missing, straight up. He looks like the Case Keenum in Pittsburgh. Just luckily the Steelers didn't roll all over us. I mean, this time around. It wasn't like the Steelers, how they rolled all over the Vikings. This time it was Detroit. And Detroit wasn't playing that hot either. In fact, this is a typical Minnesota Vikings win over Detroit when they play in the Metrodome or the U.S. Bank Stadium or TCF Bank Stadium. Now it's just getting crazy. What's next? Wells Fargo Bank Stadium and then U.S. Oh, well, they already have U.S. Bank Stadium. What's the other one? Anchor Bank Stadium. And I forgot the other one that I've been used to see all the time. Bremer Bank Stadium. Okay. Yeah, we're really banking on the wins, aren't we? Not really. We've already lost our first home game. It didn't take too long last year either. You get this immortal feeling like, man, we are protecting home field. Skol, the Skol chant, that's taken over U.S. Bank Stadium. It wasn't there back in the day. It's there now in the new stadium, and we felt this immortality, this power, and it's not there. It's just not. 14-7, and it doesn't help when Sam Bradford's hurt. It really doesn't, but doggone it. We were confident coming into this one, just a little bit. It was more we were scared that Matthew Stafford might get away on 3rd and long, and he did early in the game, but he didn't late in the game because the Vikings defense was doggone awesome the whole time. 6 sacks on Matthew Stafford. That's right. Yeah, it's still single digits, but if you're going to get double-digit sacks in the game, if you don't win that, you ought to fire the freaking offensive coordinator, which maybe the Vikings should consider doing, but maybe everything included. Kai Forbath missed his first field goal, and it came at the most opportune time ever when the Vikings needed something on the board. You saw this team go for it on 4th down and fail in the red zone. You saw this team fail in that attempt, a feeble attempt with 2 minutes remaining. Luckily, the defense was so strong, the Vikings still had another chance, and they couldn't get it done that time either. Just couldn't do jack bleep, even with good field position, because Adam Thielen fumbled that ball away within seconds. It just was that kind of game. You listen to the post-game radio, particularly 1500. Phil Mackey, I'm not a big fan of the guy for certain reasons, but personal reasons, but he summed it up perfectly. This was a Minnesota Vikings day. It really was. You know how you want to just say the Vikings this, the Vikings that over the last 55, 56 years. 56 years now. That's what type of year it is. 56th already. This is that kind of game. The Vikings really need this field goal, and he missed. And he made 24 in a row before that, and he missed. And that being Kai Forbath. 3rd and long, Detroit would get it. 4th down, key 4th down. His pass isn't even anywhere near anybody. It was just a terrible play. And another one where Adam Thielen, who's so reliable, he catches everything comes his way, and then he fumbles in the center field there, around the 50-yard line, when it looked like the Vikings were going to have a game-tying type of drive. It looked like there was a possibility of that, and no, he just fumbled it away, and that was it. And Detroit was able to just milk it away because the last defensive stand the Vikings made, we used up all of our timeouts to stop the clock, which gave us 2 minutes. 2 minutes for Case Keenum and everybody to get the ball downfield into the end zone. We set ourselves up nicely with time, but of course no timeouts, and that was the end of the story. I'm not mad at the coaches for that part. I'm mad at the coaches for the idiotic, bleeping, Mickey frickin' Wildcat call when things were going well. The Vikings were actually winning the game. The Vikings were actually winning the game. Maybe a little black and blue win. Circa 92, 93, 94, 90, whatever. You get the idea. I'd say 92, 93, 94, and maybe in the 80s too. Chris Spielman days, Jack Del Rio, John Randall, Henry Thomas. We could go on forever. You could Carl Lee. Yeah, those were the days, weren't they? As long as you don't say the name Barry Sanders, because our defense, that was the only time our defense looked idiotic, because Barry Sanders was just that good. Speaking of idiotic, Jerick McKinnon stunk today. He stunk. He pissed me off so bad. Again, that imbecilic play and the way he carried it out. It was stupid enough that the play was approved by the head coach and the play was called by the offensive coordinator. Again, the Wildcat, which is hiked to the college. He was a quarterback in college. Jerick McKinnon was a quarterback in college. So, yeah, well, I don't care what he was in college if you can't even hand off a bleeping ball to Dalvin Cook, the former Vikings running back, at least for this season. Yeah, a game like today makes you want to bench Jerick McKinnon, but guess what? Now you can't. That's right, because Dalvin Cook's out for the season. Yeah. Whatever. Imbecilic, idiotic play. Why would you call that play? Why would you call that play? We had all the momentum in the world. Cook was just running right through the Detroit defense. It was just the beginning of the end. I mean, it was just a chain. It was just a chain of events that took place after that. Looked like the Vikings were going to be just fine. We're going to score again, take maybe a two-score lead in the game, 2-possession lead in the game, and then you got yourself a nice dandy little 3-1 record. You have your first win in the division. Detroit's a whole game behind you, and you have the tiebreaker for the moment. And there's no way you could lose the tiebreaker. You could only tie with Detroit if we lose in Ford Field. But then you come up with plays like that. That make absolutely no sense. I mean, what? Because Detroit then, well, magically, things started to go better for Detroit after that. And then next time down the field, Dalvin Cook, as he's starting to make a move a little bit, his knee buckles. And at first you're just thinking, what the hell? We fumbled again. Now he turns the ball over again. And then it's like, wait a minute, no. It was non-contact. And the contact happened when he fumbled, yes, but that's because he wasn't concentrating on holding onto the ball at that stage. You wish he would be able to, but how can you blame him when you feel a sharp shooting pain in the center of your knee, and there's nothing you can do about it at that point. It's like all in God's hands now. The initial reports coming out of the Vikings from NFL Network. The NFL Network initially reported it, but I mean, coming out from the Vikings training and all that, the trainers and all that it is a almost complete tear of the ACL, which means he's out for the season. I mean, if it's a partial tear, he's out for the season. We're not going to do the not with this guy, not with the position he plays, by the way. You're not going to do the old what's the guy's name? Doggone it. The guy's Tannehill. You're not going to do a Tannehill with the Miami Dolphins like he did last year. He's like, we'll just kind of let it heal during the offseason and come back, and then, oh crap, now I'm out for the season after wasting the whole offseason, which could have been used to rehab the knee and get things ready to roll again. But no, you just let it kind of sit there the way it was and came back, and yeah, stupid idiot. And Miami, boy, we'll be talking about Miami in that second segment. We'll be talking about everybody a little bit, but Miami's definitely an interesting topic there. A little bit. I'm not going to dedicate the whole second segment to him, but just a little bit of it. A segment within a segment. Stefon Diggs was remarkable in this game once again. Made Case Keenum look better than he was, as inaccurate as he was during this game. But Stefon Diggs, spectacular plays. Cannot go unmentioned. Almost 100 yards again for the young man. 5 catches, targeted 7 times, and some of those passes sucked. It wasn't because Stefon Diggs missed it or anything. And occasionally, just a couple of those times too, there was a couple of times down the field as well with Adam Thielen and Stefon Diggs, at least one of them, and Kyle Rudolph, that there was just a little bit of pass interference, a little bit of off defensive holding, and there was no flags. And it was just one of those kind of games where, I guess the ref's going to let him play, but that's pass interference. You can't just hold the guy down. I mean, Treadwell was the other one, Laquan Treadwell. It was a poorly timed jump, but at the same time, it was still pass interference because they were holding him down. I mean, you have to let him jump. You can't just hold him down like that. That's not how you defend. That's not how you defend. So obviously, you defend by you're both trying to make a play on the ball. One guy's trying to knock it away or intercept it. The other guy's trying to just flat out catch the damn ball and hope for the best after that. But yeah, the refs weren't our friends, and as they say, the football gods weren't our friends either. That's for doggone sure throughout the game today. You get your hopes up about Case Keenum after a nice solid week last week. You think, okay, he can beat this team. If he could beat Tampa Bay, he could hopefully beat Denver too, or Detroit, too. And no, just another letdown. Classic. Stephon Diggs, all I got to say is continue what you're doing, and God bless. Adam Thielen, same thing. That fumble pissed me off because it's uncharacteristic of Adam Thielen. You don't see him dropping that kind of stuff. Fumbling away that kind of stuff. That was really unfortunate. Kyle Rudolph had a pretty frustrating drop in the game as well. Enough to make somebody mad, and it made people mad. Just catch the bleeping ball. McKinnon as well. Very, very catchable pass. McKinnon drops. It would have given us first down. Terrible. McKinnon was just awful the whole game. He had one good kick return after that horrible, it was immediately after that, after the horrible fumble. Of course, he was doing the kick return because Detroit had just scored. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Detroit. Detroit. Oh, yeah. And the reason why they have 14 points, even though they had 2 field goals in the game, is because their first successful touchdown in the game. In fact, their only successful touchdown in the game was a successful 2-point conversion. They only had 1 touchdown in the game, but it was the one that kind of, obviously put the Vikings on ice, unfortunately. You think you can come back, tie this thing up, and hope for the best, even if it comes to a coin flip in overtime? Why not? But it just wasn't meant to be, was it? Case Keenum being as inaccurate as he was, and of course the just the murder of the morale when Dalvin Cook went down like that, non-contact. The helmet obviously went into the arm, knocked the ball out and all that. Sure, good play by the Detroit defender, because I don't think the guy was thinking about Dalvin Cook being hurt there. He was just trying to tackle the guy. He probably wasn't aware the guy was getting injured at the time, because it's kind of a bang-bang play in a sense. And the Detroit defender had nothing to do with the injury, obviously. Because I'm not concentrating on who the player was on Detroit. I'm concentrating on the guy that, Dalvin Cook, that his knee just buckled and the ACL snapped. At least most of it did. So they say, and here we are again. Here's the ball, Latavius Murray. Oh, goody, because he didn't look very special out there. And, of course, by the time Latavius was in there, there really wasn't, you didn't really want to use him all that much because you're behind. And the clock is not your friend, even though it's not like you're down by 21 points or anything and you need every little tick of the clock possible. But still, I'm just kind of as much as I'm saying, I'm at a loss for words, if that makes sense. Cook looked so freaking good out there. I mean, consistent. That was the thing. He had that Terrell Davis thing going with him today, where it wasn't the explosive and he's loose 70 yards downfield, there he goes, touchdown. When you look at it, he had 66 yards on 13 rushes, and his long was only 10. He only had and then that was one of those plays during that drive before he got hurt. Or was it the one? Yeah, it was the one. It was the drive before that imbecilic fumble. The imbecilic Wildcat play. Just walked right through that Detroit defense. And after that, just the consistency. So exciting. I mean, this guy is going to be a superstar in this league. And now the uncertainty. Now the uncertainty follows. Just classic Vikings. And it's not me hating on the Vikings. It's hating on the bad luck. It's hating on the curse. It's hating on this, that, and all the others. I mean, it's just classic Vikings that now Sam Bradford, you don't know when he's going to play, if he's going to play. Teddy Bridgewater, hopefully. But just the fact that Teddy Bridgewater went down with that injury is classic Vikings, as people like to say. I mean, what? You get all your hopes up coming in. 11-5 division championship season. One Blair Walsh imbecilic miss away from at least getting to the second round, maybe the NFC title game, if the Vikings are fortunate enough to get past Arizona, which would have been really cool. Take your chances in Carolina. I don't think that would have gone so well, but maybe. The Vikings have played the Carolina Panthers very well the last several years. But here we are today, 2-2. Sam Bradford, we don't know when or if he's coming back. Teddy Bridgewater, hopefully he's available by week 6, believe it or not. So he's available very soon here. Maybe he's going to be the quarterback very soon. But I don't know what to say, man. I'm as much as I'm going on and on and on. I'm just kind of left at a loss here. Yay. The Vikings defense was outstanding. Let's talk about it a little bit here before we pass out the awards and demerits. Ryan Quigley was, well, he was needed today, that's for sure, as was Jeff Locke of the Detroit Lions, and he was better than Ryan Quigley. Congratulations, Jeff Locke, and it's not like we cut him, he cut us. He moved on. Anthony Zettel of the Detroit Lions was able to get 2 sacks in the game. Everson Griffin was just awesome, on and on and on the whole day. Danielle Hunter was spectacular, 2 sacks. And I was talking about how Danielle Hunter needed to get in there and need to start getting those sacks. I mean, he was that guy. We'd like to see the forced turnovers as well one of these days, but Danielle Hunter all over the place. Pass deflection, 2 sacks, 5 total tackles for loss. Just awesome. Trey Waynes had a golden opportunity for an interception. Anthony Barr, it would have been a great play if he got it, so I'm not super mad at him, but you wish he could bring the damn thing in. Numerous opportunities today because Mr. Stafford was not that good today. The Vikings had every opportunity to beat him today, and they did not get the job done. Mackenzie Alexander wasn't thrown to all that much because he did a pretty good job. I mean, the ball wasn't really thrown in his direction all that often. Pass deflection. Very happy with Mackenzie Alexander so far. It's nice to see him becoming a competent cornerback out there. I like Mackenzie Alexander. I think he's developing. I'm seeing signs. Trey Waynes is getting thrown to a lot more often, and that's also a sign because the quarterback's not in the opposing quarterback is not as afraid of Trey Waynes as he is of Mackenzie Alexander at this stage. And it's not even necessarily if he's scared of Trey Waynes or scared of Mackenzie Alexander. It's just the fact that Mackenzie Alexander jammed the route, and that's what he does very well, and I'm impressed with that. When your cornerback can jam the route and the receiver can't get where he needs to go, well, gosh darn it, they're not going to throw the ball that way, are they? Or if they do, it's going to be an incomplete pass and all that good stuff. Eric Kendricks had some icky moments, but he got the sack later on, and it was at a huge key moment. Gave the Vikings another opportunity to get something going at the offense. It was just not meant to be, and that was that's the story of the game today. Just not meant to be. Not meant to be. Yeah. So, Fran Tarkenton Award for today is going to go to Everson Griffin. I thought he was just absolutely spectacular. I'm going to give it to, I mean, you could give it to so many guys. I mean, the defensive line, all four of the defensive linemen, particularly Linval Joseph, Everson Griffin, and where is he? Doggone it, Danielle Hunter. Yes. Those 3 especially, though, were just unbelievable. Brian Robinson was around, but those other 3, it was mostly those 3 guys. I'm going to give all 3 of them the Fran Tarkenton Award. I mean, the defense as a whole, it's just wonderful today, and I appreciate it. They got beat sometimes. There were some missed tackles. That's why I'm not giving it to everybody. Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin, and Linval Joseph. Just, Linval was hungry. And he was getting tackles for loss. That guy is a superstar. I just love Linval Joseph so much. Oh, man. The Christian Potter Memorial is definitely Jerick McKinnon as a player. You could give it to the referees for missing obvious pass deflection calls. And, of course, Pat Shurmur for the stupid, imbecilic Wildcat call that just was not necessary. Can we stop? Just stop making that call. Maybe like the final play of the game or something when you're like, I don't know, and there's like, and you're far away. Okay, no, just don't do it. It's just, you're just like screwing around hoping for some kind of miracle. Like there's like really nothing you can do. You're like 80 yards away and it's the final play of the game. Maybe you're hoping for some kind of weird, crazy miracle. But yeah, other than that though, let's not even think about the Wildcat anymore. It doesn't work. That's the one problem with the Wildcat. It's an interesting, creative scheme, but there's just one problem. It doesn't work. So, yeah, that's the Christian Potter Memorial. I'm very generous today, passing stuff out, but I don't think I'll be giving everybody a gold star today. I don't think I need to at this point. But, yeah, a lot of you probably deserve it. Then there might be, yeah, it's going to be cool. So, let's take a break. Let's get off this first segment. Oh, what a frustrating, depressing game today. Man alive. Let's try to calm down, hope for the best, if that's humanly possible. Do some previewing and do some rounding up a little bit. NFC North, NFL, and preview right after this. We are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2. Oh yeah, always my favorite segment because there isn't a whole lot of like negativity necessarily. Well, there's always some, I guess, especially when certain teams win that you don't want to win. And there's plenty. There's a bit of that this week, and yeah, I don't know, and a lot of weird kind of goings on. I mean, the NFL is just getting weirder and weirder. It's always been weird. I mean, heck, all the way back to the Paul Tagliabue days that Paul Allen would say, Paul Tagliabue was wacky bit. Yeah, because there were always some odd events taking place. Let's just get going. Hell with it. Oh, Thursday night. That's going to be last. That's going to be last because it's the NFC North and it's next week's opponent, the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears. So that's the fun part, kind of. Monday night game. Monday night football, which means I'm going to have a hell of a time recording the show, which... well, we'll figure it out, I guess. It's in Soldier Field, too, which, boy, oh boy. If history continues to repeat itself, the Vikings could come out of next week 2-3. Wow. Who saw that coming after the Vikings dominated Tampa last week? Anybody raising their hand right now? Anybody? Do I see anybody? Hey, you with the Packers jersey, you don't count. Put it down. Put the hand down. That's not funny. Put it down, Carl Gerbschmidt, okay? Yeah, I know the Packers. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that last. Why do I keep talking about it? Okay, I guess we are going to lead things off with New Orleans and Miami. No, we're not, actually. Got everything all weird here. Indianapolis and Seattle, that's going on right now. Just getting started. Sunday night football. Of course, Monday night, Washington and Kansas City. And yes, it will be that. Okay, this is a mess. This thing needs to get out of here. New Orleans beats Miami 20-0. The Miami Dolphins at home lose 20-0 against maybe the worst defense in the NFL. Wrap your head around that. I guess the Dolphins, I guess the Dolphins need a bye week, right? They're really looking forward to the bye week coming into this one, boy, because oh, that's right, there is no bye week because of the Hurricane Irma. They decided to go that direction, and it's kind of almost like, what can you do? That sucks. Wow. If Miami makes the playoffs, it would be the most incredible accomplishment of all time with the way they're going. I mean, nothing. They seriously, and they had an opportunity in the end zone that was intercepted, but still, you got shut out by the bleeping Saints. I mean, the Vikings made the Saints look like they weren't even there. And great pass by Cutler, by the way, right to the Saints defender. I mean, he overthrew the wide receiver for Miami. Not even close. I mean, there was like nothing there. Why try to force a play like that? That's why Cutler is just not that good. He doesn't cut it. Pun intended. I can't even believe he completed 70% of his passes. That's shocking, but of course not a whole lot else. It's just classic Jay Cutler. No touchdowns, obviously. Medial amount of yards, 164. Quarterback rating in the low 70s. I mean, that's Jay Cutler. I'm sorry, Miami. I kind of like the Dolphins. I kind of always have had a soft spot for them. They're just one of those teams from back in the day that I kind of always liked, even though Dan Marino was a jackass. But whatever. The Saints are a bunch of jackasses, too, and I hate to see them win. I hate it. I don't like Drew Brees with the way he'd always get this huge attitude when Bountygate was brought up, basically like it doesn't exist. And you know what? I understand you're playing for that team and that coach and all that stuff, but whatever. Screw the Saints. You can go somewhere, and it ain't going to be pleasant. So, okay, maybe not that bad, but whatever. 20-0 Saints. Just move on. I don't give a crap. Michael Thomas continues to play well for them. That's for damn sure. And 89 yards today. Why is all this stuff? Navigation through this stuff. It's like it's like I'm trying to navigate through the asteroid belt. What? Why does all this? It didn't used to be this bad. Buffalo visiting Atlanta, and I don't need to see this picture. Why? Why is the image of this game players kneeling for the national anthem? Stop, media. Just stop. Show a play in the game, or just show... Why is that the image you need to show me when I see the game? Did that have anything to do with 23-17 Buffalo? I don't think so, but congratulations to the Buffalo Bills, 23-17 in Atlanta, 3-1. Buffalo Bills. Will they finally go back to the playoffs? See, this picture right here, it's just, the media needs to cut this crap out. It's got to stop. You know what? If they kneel, they kneel. If they don't, they don't. We don't need it shoved down our throats every second, okay? Can we just watch football rather than have to boycott it? Because I'm going to, you're making people want to boycott it. This is dumb, media. This is dumb. Stop. Okay. 23-17. I can't believe it. Buffalo. Tyrod Taylor was above average in the game. Not spectacular. Only attempted 20 passes. 106 quarterback rating. Though he was efficient in the time he was out there. Matt Ryan had a stinker of a game. The Buffalo defense just did a hell of a job, and of course LaShawn McCoy was good too, even though last week he was stretching during the national anthem. That's cute. I mean, gee, that's real nice of you. Boy. No touchdowns were thrown by Buffalo, but hell of a game by Charles Clay. Even LaShawn McCoy getting involved a bit there as well. Julio Jones going out with the hip injury doesn't help either, though. That's for sure. He only was able to get 3 catches before that took place. Yeah, congratulations, Buffalo. I mean, great game. That's for sure. Great game by their defense. Multiple interceptions. None of them were touchdowns, but they were game changers that helped Buffalo do what they were going to do. And that's ultimately score touchdowns, get in the end zone. Good indeed. Tyrod Taylor ultimately threw 1 touchdown. Matt Ryan fumble led to it was a fumble 6. It was a fumble 6 for Tre'Davious White. These names just get more and more creative, don't they? It's funny. And then Hushka, the former Seahawk, replaced by Blair Walsh. Wow. Hushka was outstanding the entire game, and congratulations for him. A 56-yarder, 55-yarder. Those were the 2 plays that ended up winning the game. Congratulations to the Buffalo Bills in Atlanta, Georgia, despite several players kneeling. But then again, whatever. You know what? I don't even want to talk about it anymore. You know what? Yeah. I don't like it, but I don't need it covered every second. And it's like they're just doing it to agitate us, aren't they? And that's all this is. It's like it's as if this media run by George Soros wants a civil war in this country. That's what I think is going on. But anyhow, take that opinion somewhere else. I better be careful. But I said it now. I said it. Okay, next. Cincinnati in Cleveland. The Browns are just, boy. This is the Browns. I mean, every year they start out like, okay, maybe they're turning things around a little bit. They look kind of promising. And then they get hit by a ton of bricks and there's just nothing going, and it doesn't matter. Bill Belichick could be their coach again, like he was back in the early '90s, and I liked that team. That was fun to watch. I don't think that team's going anywhere ever, and I'm sorry. I mean, I love Vince Gerbato. He's a Cleveland Browns fan. Yep, out of Australia, big Lakers fan and frequent contributor to Timberwolves explosion. Occasional contributor to this one, mostly just kind of saying "Go Browns," though, kind of giving me a tease here and there. I want the Browns to do better. The old Browns were so much better, weren't they? And Vince, and that's why they, I don't know, it just figures they're the one that moved to Baltimore rather than the Ravens kind of starting an expansion team. Like this would be, this Cleveland team should be Baltimore Ravens, and then the old Browns should still be there. Oh, boy, because this Browns franchise has done absolutely nothing since 1999. And the one year they made the playoffs, they had Kelly Holcomb as quarterback. Wow. I mean, can you imagine Kelly Holcomb? Cincinnati finally won a game. That's good. It's about frickin' time. And they did a little pounding job today. Good for them. Andy Dalton, 4 touchdown passes. That's good. That's really good. Deshaun Kaiser. It looks like Deshaun, but it is Deshaun. Dalton definitely had his best game of the year so far. Near perfect rating, but he also had a fumble loss in the game. That figures. Kaiser, awful. 43.5. The whole concussion protocol, I don't know. Might need to reevaluate that because he's really dropped off. And I know sometimes and he's also like a rookie pretty much, and teams figure guys out after a little tiny bit of success in the first week. I feel for Browns fans. I really do. Take that as is. The Los Angeles Rams, which would have been Chick Hearn's club back in the day, right? Now they're the Los Angeles Rams again, and they have white horns now. And I get a kick out of it. It's kind of interesting. It's like they changed that one little detail, and they look so different. It's kind of weird. It's kind of cool, though, too. I suppose the pants are different, too. Yeah, the pants are, instead of like the gold stripe, it's a white stripe. It's kind of cool, even though it's like a minor change, but it's a change. And That franchise is they're totally different. They're 3-1. They crushed the Cowboys today. Wow. Or they didn't crush them, but they beat the Cowboys. To me, it feels like they crushed them because they scored 35 points in the game. Dallas scored 21, though, in the second quarter. Scared Rams fans just a little bit, I'm sure. But to get it done in AT&T Stadium on the road by the the LA Rams, great job. I'm impressed. I'm kind of like becoming a slight fan of this club right now. That's pretty cool. As long as they don't get too crazy and obnoxious like the St. Louis Rams did with the Kurt Warner days. I kind of got sick of that team. But I get sick of every team, it seems like. Dak Prescott, not bad. I mean, it's his completion percentage that brought his rating down. And, of course, the interception. I mean, 3 touchdown passes, 250 yards. He was spectacular in the second quarter. Goff, kind of the same thing. He didn't even get to 60%, 58%, 2 touchdowns, but did not turn the ball over. That's the difference maker, 98.7. And Todd Gurley on the ground was just, exquisite because, again, just like our running back, Dalvin Cook, the guy he's the former running back now, and he'll be the current running back again next August. Just to think that you got to wait that long to see Dalvin Cook, it just makes my heart ache. Oh, man. You got to wait until August to see Dalvin Cook again? Or July, pardon me, last week of July. What the hell, man? My heart just aches thinking about that. It makes me sick. But Todd Gurley, since I have to move on, unfortunately, see, his long of the day was 17. And it just shows. You just hand him the ball, and he just goes forward, 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 forward. And we're talking 4 or 5 yards each time. That's Terrell Davis, and that's why the Denver Broncos just won, and they won, and they won. It's not just because you pounded away like the 70 whatever, the 70s Steelers or whoever. But it's the fact that you continue to move the chains. It's not about pounding as much as that you're moving the chains, and the other team can't stop it. And it's just awesome. And that's what Dalvin Cook was bringing, even though he's not like the biggest guy ever. But he sure as hell is a talented son of a gun. And Todd Gurley, after an awful sophomore slump last year, has been pretty good in his junior jump this year. It's a junior jump for Todd Gurley. Good on him. He was just spectacular. 94 receiving yards as well. A touchdown for him. What a game. I mean, Todd Gurley, over 200 total yards in this ditty. Oh, my goodness. 215 yards in the game. Only 1 touchdown, but regardless if you're a fantasy player, which I choose not to be anymore, haven't for a long time now. Wow, Todd Gurley's first-round pick in fantasy football, I got to think. And, man, somebody probably got him well after the first round because I bet a lot of people were down on him coming into this year. But who knows? Maybe in some leagues he went real high still. Oh, boy. Wow. Go Rams. I mean, hell yeah. That's pretty awesome. They deserve they deserve a nice little thumbs up. Oh, I'm looking at this score right now, and I'm pissed off, man. Frickin' son of a... This could have been the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The Patriots could have completed one more bleeping pass in the red zone in that game. The AFC title game of 2015. But the Denver Broncos defense was that good, and that's why they crushed the Carolina Panthers a couple weeks after that. But the Panthers beat the Patriots today. Oh, in Gillette Stadium. What the hell? The Patriots are now 2-2. Ouch. After the shootout in the Old K Corral, okay, kind of, with the Houston Texans. Talk about a shootout today. Holy moly. They give up 33 points. That Patriots defense is not stopping a whole lot of people. They gave up 33 points last week. They gave up 33 points this week. That's, just do the math there in the last 2 weeks. 66. That's terrible, man. Carolina's 3-1. After all that, with the dust settling, with how awful Carolina has looked this year, they're 3-1. What the hell? They're 3-1. So I guess the Panthers are kind of back in the mix for the playoffs and the whole kit and caboodle again. Cam Newton, what a game. He did have an interception, which gave the Patriots hope, but ultimately it was all for naught. Brady did not turn the ball over. It was still spectacular. Quarterback rating 104, 307 yards on the ground, passing, in the air. Cam Newton, similar numbers, but 1 more touchdown and 1 interception. But overall, an efficiency rating, outstanding. Completed 76% of his passes. Just outstanding overall game for Cam Newton. And the Carolina Panthers outscored the New England Patriots in a shootout. Pretty impressive. I'm not happy about it, but it's impressive. I got to tell you, Kelvin Benjamin was the star receiver in that game, along the way. Wow. It doesn't help with the Patriots missing their good buddy there, Julian Edelman. And it's like, yeah, you want to keep bringing his name up over and over and over again, but, well, okay, let's just move on. New York and Jacksonville. The New York Jets, the Jets, not the Giants, the Jets, the Jets, the Jets, as I continue to say, just end the season. They have a better record than the Giants, and a lot of people were thinking the Giants would go to the Super Bowl. This is football for you. I mean, what the hell? The Jets are 500. Yeah, they beat Jacksonville, so what? But they're 500, though. They are. And Jacksonville, again, that's football, too. I mean, Jacksonville romped, just annihilated the Baltimore Ravens last week, and now they lose to the Jets. What the hell? It took overtime, but yikes. You know, I kind of like those Jags uniforms, though. They're kind of nice. 23-20, Josh McCown and co. getting the job done out there. Yep, there was a LaShawn Edwards trick play, 31 yards. Nice play that helped be a game changer along the way. McCown, nothing special, but good enough. The Jets defense did a good job today, for the most part, forcing turnovers and such. And Blake Bortles sucked hardcore. 43% overall in 35 attempts in the game. Blake Bortles isn't going to get you anywhere with numbers like that. Fournette was good, along with other running along with Chris Ivory. But, man, I mean, Fournette had an outstanding total yardage type of game. Bilal Powell, though, was pounding the ball away the whole game. And, of course, Ennis had a 70-yard scamper. Elijah McGuire also a 69-yard scamper. And it was the running game, ultimately, that was the hero today for the Jets, along with a solid defense that frustrated and embarrassed the lousy Blake Bortles today. So we continue to move on. A classic divisional matchup that doesn't look as close as it used to back in the day. Used to think Baltimore and Pittsburgh were basically mirror images of each other. Quarterbacks that knew how to win, quarterbacks that could win on the road and at home, spectacular defenses, household names on both sides, all over the place. No, not so much. I mean, Pittsburgh is just far and away the superior team, and they're not as good as they were even last year. At least I don't think they are yet. I mean, they had a pretty lame loss last week, but, well, that's kind of what they got for all that stuff. But I don't know. Whatever it is, Baltimore, it's just, they've fallen off the face of the earth, and it's kind of sad because they started the season fairly strong. Some people kind of liked them coming in this season. The last 2 weeks, ouch. 15 points, or is it 16 points the last 2 weeks? That's pretty pathetic. And not so much on the defensive side of the ball either. Pittsburgh 26-9. Baltimore, just not a whole lot going on. Flacco was a little bit better, but then again, not really. A couple interceptions. He kind of looks like the rookie Flacco, who struggled a lot on the road in Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger, nothing special this week either. Is Le'Veon Bell, who was the big star, 144 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, fantasy stud once again there, 42 yards in the air for Le'Veon Bell as well, and good for him. We'll continue to move on. Brown, though, Pittsburgh, also freaking out when he didn't get the ball on a play. He was open, and you know what? Quarterbacks aren't always going to find the guy at the right place, right time. Maybe they're concentrating on something else, like 2 defensive linemen coming his way. And Roethlisberger didn't throw Brown the ball. He flipped out, threw the big giant Gatorade jug on the ground and container, whatever the word is for that thing. Just too much, and he just kept going and going too. He wouldn't let it go, and wow, that's not gonna fly for too long. I gotta hope, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of these receivers are just too high maintenance. It's ridiculous. That's why people got sick of Terrell Owens, sick of Keyshawn Johnson, who was never that good. Maybe in his early days with the Jets, but after that, whatever. Let's move on. Houston over Tennessee, and now you got Mariota getting hurt. Mariota, yeah. Look at this score, 57. That's right, 57-14. Houston's starting to score some points, and they did a hell of a job last week against the Patriots. Marcus Mariota's out, though, for a while. Matt Castle, not a good game at all for Tennessee. And, boy, oh boy, 4 interceptions taken away, and Deshaun Watson, 4 touchdowns. Another good week for him. Go Deshaun Watson. I mean, good for him. That's his job to lose now. I mean, because Tom Savage wasn't scaring anybody for the most part. And you had guys like Matt Schaub over the last several years who didn't do jack bleep there, and just and who's the guy they just brought in that was just, gosh, Osweiler, yeah, spent all that money on him, and he did nothing last year. Deshaun Watson, man, there's your quarterback, at least for now. I mean, geez, this team looks good. Lamar Miller just solid every single week. Just look at that. His long for the day was 9, yet he managed to get 75 yards on 19 carries. Solid. Just move the ball forward. That's all you can ask for. I like Lamar Miller an awful lot. Like if the Vikings were in a situation like they are now, Lamar Miller would look pretty damn good on the Vikings right now, wouldn't he? Dalvin Cook looked freaking awesome, but now he's gone for a while. Lamar Miller also a good receiving back as well. Total yardage for the day, about 130 for Lamar Miller. DeAndre Hopkins, spectacular game for him as well. Wound up with 107 yards and a touchdown in a very fun game if you're a Houston Texans fan. 57-14. You don't see numbers that high very often. I mean, 57. That's almost never. That's like once a year maybe. And occasionally in the Super Bowl when like one of the teams is just not even trying. Like the Buffalo Bills had got to that point in that 92 Super Bowl. It just fell apart so badly for them. And the 49ers and the Broncos in 89, I believe, was it 55-10? Well, how the mighty have fallen, right? San Francisco. They had some good years under Jim Harbaugh. They suck so bad. Only 15 points against the Arizona team that's not doing so well either. They're 2-2, 18-15. This game went to overtime. Must have been a real pleasure to watch, and it really kind of wasn't. Luckily for the Arizona Cardinals, they were able to get this game won at home, to keep them kind of alive, kind of. Just a bunch of field goals pretty much the whole game, other than Carson Palmer getting one touchdown pass very late to put the Cardinals ahead, ultimately, to end up winning the game. Lucky for them. Because, that's why. Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, that's why. Because, San Francisco in the old days would have won the game with the field goal. That's why. Yeah, I remember. I was like, how is this 18-15? Because it was 12-12 last time I had checked. And then it's 15-18. Yep. San Francisco had scored the field goal. Arizona was able to get a touchdown. So, big time. You don't see that, ever. That's kind of cool. That's why you want to score that touchdown. Robbie Gould made so many kicks in the game, and he was a hero in that sense. But luckily for Arizona, the Carson Palmer was up to the task. And, of course, one old man to another. Carson Palmer to Larry Fitzgerald helps the Cardinals kind of sort of stay alive here, just barely. Philadelphia and the Chargers, Chargers lose again. They stink. They played well against Philadelphia, but the Eagles win 26-24. The Eagles are actually in first place, so not the best game for them. Chargers just fighting for their life to get a win this year. They're now 0-4. 3-1 Philadelphia. Carson Wentz continues to, at least be decent. Not that good, though. Not a very accurate game. Phillip Rivers, much better week than last week, but not the completion percentage fairly low. Carson Wentz, same thing. You're seeing some missed passes. You're seeing some drop passes. LeGarrette Blount was spectacular on the ground for Philadelphia. 136 yards, including the 68-yard scamper. And that's one of the reasons they ended up winning the game. Keenan Allen, remember that name? Woo, boy, 138 yards for him. Tyrell Williams, 115 for the Chargers. In a losing effort once again. Just another losing effort. Speaking of another losing effort, the Giants lose again. And it's just unreal. 0-4. And, it's just when I continue to talk about it. The Jets have 2 more wins than the Giants. That's freaking weird. Tampa Bay with an okay rebound type of game in their Raymond James Stadium there. Good for them, I guess. They beat an 0-4 team. But Jameis Winston, much better in this one. Eli Manning was a little better than he has been. But no turnovers for Jameis Winston. Good for him. 3 touchdowns in the game. Strong performance, over 330 yards. The Giants just lose again. This was a little bit better performance by them, but Tampa Bay kind of showing up to play this time around, playing a little bit better, a little smarter in terms of Jameis Winston, at least not turning the ball over. And then the final one, Denver over Oakland. Now the Raiders are a team that's starting to show that maybe they're not going to win the AFC this year. And I don't know who is going to win the AFC anymore. Denver, it might be Denver again. They're 3-1. They beat Oakland today in a division matchup. Now, it's a road game. It's not easy to win in Mile High Stadium or Sports Authority Field. I keep calling it Mile High. That's old news. Sports Authority Field. Ooh. But let's just call it Mile High for fun. 16-10 type of matchup. Derek Carr was bad, and he was hurt, and yeah, Derek Carr was hurt as well. E.J. Manuel was a little bit better, actually, but not really. He was better for a couple of minutes there. He completed more passes. That's about it. He was a little bit more accurate and then had an interception later on. Trevor Siemian, just good enough, whatever. Marshawn Lynch and the Oakland rushing game, completely non-existent. C.J. Anderson was awesome. And with almost 100 yards, 95 yards overall in the game. Can't believe it. Yep, Derek Carr's hurt again. Nothing super serious yet at this moment, but we'll just have to let that play out as is. Oakland 2-2. Yuck. They looked like crap last week, and they look like crap this week. Because you think of Denver. I'm not really thinking of Denver as this outstanding team, but oh well, they're winning games right now, and good for them. So let's finally get to the preview, the review, the preview. Oh, goody. The Packers on Thursday night. The Bears put up a great effort in the game. They just were awesome. No, they were terrible. Aaron Rodgers has had his way with this club. 35-14. The Green Bay Slackers defeat the Chicago Bears, and that's about all there is to say. Obviously, the Lions beat the Vikings. That's the other side of the NFC North roundup. Mike Glennon was just garbage. I don't know. He had 4 turnovers in the game. He fumbled twice, 2 interceptions. That's not going to get it done. Aaron Rodgers did what he needed to, including telling everybody to lock arms during the national anthem in the stadium. No comment. Just, do whatever, Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdowns in the game, made mincemeat of a pretty lame Chicago defense. And that's just all there is to say. I'm glad the Bears beat the Steelers, though, at least. I wish they could have beat the Packers. And that's about it. As for this Bears team, Jordan Howard looked good again for a little while. Or he started off the season terribly. Then he had a big, strong week last week against the Steelers. And now, not so much again. Just okay. Just an average running back right now. Last year he was good for most of the season. Glennon. Going into Soldier Field, you got to think the Vikings need to win. I mean, obviously they need to win the game, but who's going to be the Vikings quarterback? And Latavius Murray, well, he got his wish. I mean, you brought him here to be the Chester Taylor, so to speak, to be the starting running back. When Chester Taylor was originally signed for the Vikings, he was to be the starting running back. A guy who'd kind of been a platoon back in a platoon or even a second running back, kind of third down guy in Baltimore behind Jamal Lewis. It was kind of him and Jamal Lewis fighting for carries over there back in the good old days. Chester Taylor came to Minnesota, was ever so valuable, 1,200 yards, and he was even a good, valuable receiving running back. He was a 3-down back. He was pretty damn good. And then, ironically, he went to the Bears. But now here's Latavius Murray. A similar situation. You sign him to a fairly reasonable contract. You hope to have him. It's only for 1 year, though, but still, at this stage, it's only for 1 year. But you hope to have him to at least be a decent starting running back and maybe keep him for a little while at a reasonable price and be your third down back, because Dalvin Cook ended up being a lot better than we thought. He ended up being a hell of a player. We didn't even know he was going to be available at where he was. He dropped far enough that Vikings could trade up to grab him. Latavius Murray's got to step up and be a starting running back now. I mean, it's his job. And if he can do something on the ground, provide something, if it's not Matt Asiata again, and the offensive line stinks. I mean, like, Remmers gave up a pretty crappy sack in the game when the Vikings had some momentum and ended up missing that field goal later on. A terrible sack given up by Mike Remmers. That was just depressing. Just depressing. I mean, he was just standing there, and the guy went right past him. Completely missed an assignment, basically, on the play. It's not like he wasn't trying. It's just he didn't see the Detroit defender waiting for him. I mean, just like unguarded. And that was a huge problem. So Mike Remmers continuing to not be that great. Carolina's not too happy with Matt Khalil either, though. So I don't feel too bad there. I really don't. This Bears team, is generally terrible, but it seems like every time the Vikings go there, they're terrible. Mike Glennon doesn't scare me like Jay Cutler does, though. I mean, it seemed like, as bad as Jay Cutler is most of the time, it seemed like magically he turns it on when he plays against the Vikings in Soldier Field, and he'll magically turn it on against Green Bay once in a blue moon. But other than that, most of the time, Cutler isn't that great. Glennon is just an average, run-of-the-mill, backup spot starter type of quarterback. That's pretty much what Mike Glennon is. The Vikings pass rush, if it's anything like it was today against Detroit, the Bears will get shut out in Soldier Field. I mean, we're talking nothing. Maybe they'll get some kind of a save-face touchdown in the fourth quarter. But if the Vikings pass rush continues to be as aggressive as they were and as successful as they were today, yeah, the Vikings should have no problem beating the Bears, even with Case Keenum at quarterback. The Bears' defense is not as good as Detroit's defense, and obviously you don't have Matthew Stafford and frickin' Abdullah. I almost called him Hussein Abdullah, but Detroit's Abdullah. Oh, man. The Vikings need to beat this Bears team. This is a must-win game in a lot of ways. Not only, and it's like you want to think just getting to 3-2 is one thing and all that, and it's important to get to 3-2. Yes. But, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a momentum thing. It's a morale thing for this Minnesota Vikings team. You have to beat the Bears. You have to end this nonsense in Soldier Field. They're a far inferior club. There's no excuse for the Vikings to lose this time. There's no talented quarterback hiding underneath the idiot that Jay Cutler is. Because Jay Cutler is a talented quarterback, but most of the time he's just kind of an idiot. Mike Glennon is just what he is. He's like a lesser version of Matt Castle. Much less, I would say. He's a lesser version of what Matt Castle was when he was here. Now Castle's pretty much cooked. He can't play at all anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe he'll have one good game a year or something in his limited play. Ty Montgomery also is hurt too. Oh, excuse me, I'm talking about the Bears. Excuse me, I'm going crazy here. The Bears, though, they're just there's no excuse for the Vikings to lose to the Bears. Jordan Howard's the one guy you're afraid of a little bit, but the defense is ever capable. So we'll just kind of have to let things play out here. I'm going to pick the Vikings to win in good faith. You got to stop losing in Soldier Field. You just got to stop. This team is so inferior. You have to beat them. Even if Case Keenum is quarterback again, I think he'll have a better game. I think Latavius Murray's going to get in the 70, 80-yard mark. How about that? Especially if the Vikings are ahead. Why not pound it away and hopefully he can get something? He sure looks slow. That's the frustrating part. Other than that, though, we're just going to sit here and hope for the best. Who's the next one? I'm going to go with a Minnesota Vikings victory. I don't think it's going to be 35-7 or anything. I'd like it to be, or 35-14 in the case of Chicago Green Bay. I think the Vikings should win this one because I don't trust their offense. One day they look so good, the next day they suck. Maybe they'll have their next strong game. Okay, let's go with 27-14. Minnesota will beat the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. You're going to see Case Keenum play a little bit better. You're going to see the passing game hopefully improve a bit. See, it's the accuracy of Case Keenum, and if Sam Bradford comes back, the Vikings are in wonderful shape. I hope so, but as long as Thielen hangs on to the ball, now we have to worry about that. Then we'll be okay. Like Thielen and, of course, Stephon Diggs, they can get the job done. Keenum's got to be better than he was today, and against this Bears defense, he will be. Minnesota wins 27-14 over the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. Latavius Murray gets 70 to 80 yards, probably scampers one touchdown in, and you're going to see some big-time passing game, though, ultimately in the game. You're going to see them pound away with Murray later. I think you're going to see a little more aggressive passing game against the Bears defense. That's very beatable at the end of the day with that one. So we are going to leave things here. Again, the Vikings will be 3-2 after next week. Then now we're going to get to fan interaction right after this.
Hey Joe, enjoying your soapbox politics today. It's a beautiful Monday afternoon and a little off topic, I suppose. All this political taking the knee bullshit that we're having to contend with. I understand these guys have got an opinion. Get out there and do it, but don't ram it down people's throats on a Sunday afternoon. I find it very difficult. The simple fact is, the British aren't particularly patriotic, unlike the United States. I've always found it incredibly pleasing when I've been in the US, and you go to a game and you've got the flag, you've got the national anthem, you're proud of your military. I mean, over here, my son's in the Royal Air Force, and now they are encouraged not to wear their uniforms off base, because there is a lot of contempt for our military, which I find, quite frankly, disgusting. And also you've got the terrorist threat of them being kidnapped and beheaded and all the rest of that disgusting garbage that's going on as well. But the simple fact is, you go to a domestic game in Britain, we don't play the national anthem, we don't appear to be proud of our country, which is something that the US still is. So savour it, embrace the flag, embrace that national anthem, embrace your military. I think it's fantastic, and I find it totally abhorrent what's going on at the moment. Yes, there are issues. Every country on this planet has issues to a lesser or greater extent. I think the United States, for what it's worth, has been a major factor for good over the last century. So I applaud you guys as our allies. I'm ex-military. I've worked with Americans, and I'm very, very proud of working with those guys and working with my own guys. So embrace and be proud of your country. Joey, relax. You don't live in Britain, where we seem to treat our military with contempt a lot of the time. And if they want to protest, hey, that's up to them. But in the workplace, I don't think so. I wouldn't do it. And let's face it, for most of us, sport is a form of escapism from a grim reality at times. Anyway, Joe, that's all I'm going to say on that subject. Skol, brothers and sisters, and let's hope for a victory against the Lions. Roar! Let's deal with them.
Hey, wow, that was awesome. Interesting perspective, too. See, there you go. I mean, that's Dave applauding the patriotism of the United States. Dave coming there from the northern Scotland area in the, the United Kingdom area over there. He admires the patriotism of our country in general, in terms of just how patriotic this country usually is. So he can't believe that people would be, disrespecting the flag, the national anthem, particularly in the workplace. Like, why would you do that? So, but he's also saying that, I should probably calm down a tiny bit too. That's kind of cool to hear him coming from that perspective. So really appreciate what you had to say there. And I should just let him have the floor with that one. Unfortunately, the Vikings were not able to beat the Lions. In this case, this recording he did before the Vikings win, of course. Vikings lost, to the Lions, ultimately. Now we move on to the Twitter account. We'll be hearing from Dave once again a bit here. Where is everything? Yeah, Cook is out with a knee injury. No kidding. Something that wasn't... oh, boy. I had it and I lost it. Okay. Things start off with St. Walker and at Antonio Fett. That is Mark Carlson's... Yeah, he is Anthony Carlson there. Kind of a cool image there with the Everson Griffin, number 97, chasing a lion running away. And, that about was right on the defensive side of the ball. Only 14 points were scored by the Lions. So that's a pretty good cartoon there. And that's very accurate. Matt Martin says, good hold there, trying to keep them out, but the D is solid. Yep, and that was the whole key. The D was basically holding things together. He says Vikings and Lions right now, and Twins and Tigers. Oh, that is true. And ultimately, the Twins ended up getting the win. They now have 85 wins, exactly equivalent to the 1987 team. So they have the exact same record as the 1987 team 30 years ago that won the World Series. The Twins have the weakest record of any playoff team, just like the 87 team back 30 years ago that won the World Series. So we'll see. It's all about getting past those damn New York Yankees once and for all. It's not because they have Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera, or any of those guys, but just getting past the pinstripes once and for all and moving forward. That's, it's just kind of, I guess, if you're going to end it now. And the Twins hopefully will get that done. That was, of course, that was not, that was Anthony Carlson that said that, actually, not the, not Dave Martin. Pardon me for that. So, but no, thank you very much for that. And yep, and Anthony Carlson says as long as we're winning, and yeah, and the Vikings were winning for a while there, and unfortunately it went away. Matt Martin's comment on that horrible Wildcat play was, how can I put it? What a effing stupid play. Pardon me for my crazy back and forth there. JP says, yep, season over because I tweeted out RIP 2017 once I saw Dalvin Cook go down like that. It's like, that's it. You just kind of knew. Yep, and at the same time, Matt Martin, he wasn't sure about the injury at the time because it was just like right there. And he says, oh crap, now Cook on another turnover. Yeah, oh no, Cook had gone down. Yep, it was at the same time. I says, let's hope it's not about being serious, but to be honest, we never had high expectations for this season. Sam Gupta says there's still time in this game, and yes, we were hoping for that. And the Vikings had time all the way to the bitter end, but once, yeah, I mean, all the way up to that Adam Thielen fumble at the end, and it just kind of figured that it ended up that way. Matt Martin says, so we are back to the crappy chocolate again, a whole lot of yuck. These effing refs, stupid fumble, and off idiots. Yep, man. He says, can you make this up? Missed field goal. Nope, we can't make it up. That was Kai Forbath's field goal. That would have made things a little closer. I just feel for the D today. The O is not helping much, and the refs are clearly Lions fans. Matt Martin was replying to John Creasel. He's saying that he was replying to me and to them, and John Creasel saying, so we have blatant make-up calls. And yep, that was when they called a hold right after that on the Lions. That was kind of funny. Sam Gupta, yep, yikes, gut punch, and that was again that horrible sack given up by Mike Remmers. Yep, Matt Martin was saying the O-line is painful to watch on that sack. That was Remmers, yep, horrific goal line sack, and the refs did not help today. Yep, cannot win a division on its own. He's asking if we can score points. What a joke. The D gets it back. And, let's bleeping turn it over again. Guess we were playing for third place. The D must be raging. And I'm sure they were. I mean, that was terrible. Matt Martin asked me how many wins this season. Guess the question is how many crappy Ds do we play to get those wins? Well, Chicago's one of them. So we'll be 3-2 next week, in my humble opinion. I'm hoping so. I would hope so. If the Vikings don't win next week, boy, oh boy, get your... You know what? It's like you might as well finish the season 2-14 at that point. But of course we'll win it. Like even if we don't make the playoffs, we'll win some games conveniently in December against that don't mean anything, and we'll get to 7-9 or something. Oh goody, and be like much later in the draft. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll end up being 8-8, 9-7. That's how it's heading right now. Maybe better. I don't know though. It doesn't look better right now. Things can change real quick. And they can change badly real quick, too, like Cook's injury. This is another difficult podcast to put together. Don't envy your skull, brother, and thank you for that, Matt Martin. It's no, it's not easy. It's frustrating. There's a lot of energy, a lot of material, so that's what makes it kind of easy. But the feeling, because I'm a sincere fan, I'm not just here to get numbers, get ratings and everything, because you know what? Games like today and injuries like Dalvin Cook's, not good for ratings. No, I'm probably going to have a very low-rated season. I think the fan base has gotten so skittish on this team that it's just like, what do you do? In 2009, I don't know if it's because it was a new fan base or Favre was just that big a draw, and I think that was a huge part of it. But the podcast was so good, and only its second season, it was like 1,000% better than the year before. It was unbelievable, and then of course things quickly dropped off. By 2011, it was like nobody was even listening to the show that year when the Vikings were 3-13. It was horrendous. A lot of the people stuck around in 2010, not as many, but for a while it was fairly well rated, particularly at the beginning. Sam Gupta he liked to tweet when I said unreal, just wow, when young Adam Thielen fumbled the ball away. Couldn't believe it. Now that was the Twitter account. It's at Purple Mafia Show, at Purple Mafia Show. Pardon me for that. I'm getting too excited to get things going here, and plus, I got my wife basically breathing down my neck here to get going. So I apologize if I seem a little bit, maybe if I seem rushed, and I'm making kind of silly mistakes. So stuttering around. Well, let's continue off from the last episode, but first I'll give a quick shout out to MN Vikings Haven. MN Vikings Haven, it is a nice Facebook page. Recommend you like that. Trevor Wickerin, the founder of that Facebook page, kind enough to allow me to post links to Purple Mafia on that page. Thank you again, and it's a very nice page, friendly conversation, whether it's good or bad news. You could talk about Dalvin Cook. You could talk about Sam Bradford when he played well, stuff like that. Yeah, or Keenan when he played well. So I was hoping to have another Coast Guard show today, but of course it didn't go that way. Or Lion Tamer, or whatever you would want to say. Mark Carlson saying, good Lord, Paladino Joey opens up Fort Knox and passes out the gold on this episode. And that was to give everybody the gold star. I have to add that you handled the controversial acts around the league with style and taste, Joey. Love your comments on the game and the coverage around the league. Your passion and honest personality make the show great. Skull, Mark from Iowa. And yes, this is from the heart. I'm going to bring it every week, every time I come on the air. Regardless of how I feel, I'm going to give you everything I got. If it's good news, bad news, whatever it is, I'm going to give you the full energy. I'm going to be honest about it, my honest opinions. If I'm pissed off, happy, whatever it is, I'm going to give you what I have. Leland, also from Iowa, Marcus from Iowa. Leland says, not the best way to get a gold star, but all deserve it. You deserve a platinum, Joey, for all your insights. Thank you, Skull. And thank you so much, Leland. That means a lot. I appreciate that. And I will graciously accept the platinum star, even though I'm not sure I deserve it. Thank you so much. Gerald String out of Nebraska says, way to battle through and do a fantastic show. I still say best Vikings show out there, folks. And thank you again, Gerald, for that. I deeply appreciate that. It gets old. It really never does. Because it's not like I'm on, 50,000 watt radio and 50,000 people listen, stuff like that. I wish they did, but I don't know. I put the Case Keenum Coast Guard wants to begin be your quarterback versus Detroit. James Beck out of the UK says, if the offense shows up like last time, I'm good with that. And if they did, the Vikings would have won the game. So, yeah, the defense was spectacular today, and the offense let them down. Brett McCarthy out of South Dakota says, if they play like last week, I like our chances. Leland wraps up this segment saying it will be a challenge this week. And, yeah, it will be a challenge. I mean, it was a challenge, and the Vikings, for me, if you're going to make the playoffs, you got to beat Detroit. So hopefully, pray to God, the Vikings can win one on the road later this season. They're going to have to. They're going to have to win this Bears game on the road, too. Last year, the only division win, well, actually there were two division wins for the Vikings. One in the first U.S. Bank Stadium game and the last U.S. Bank Stadium game were both division wins for the Vikings, but they swept nobody last year. It's hard to believe we actually split with the Packers last year, but yeah, we did. And then the second game was just another BS fest. But everything was kind of gone at that point. The in-game thread, you're going to see the debut of Kurt Back. That's right, Kurt Back, my buddy from work that I've known for a while now. He's in the hoose. Oh, Adam. Yep, that was an Adam Thielen fumble. Oh, so Kurt actually did post at the end. So, good. I usually like to go to the... I end up liking to go into both, but... Cedric Paulding, very active today. He should definitely get a star of some sorts during this game. He was saying, come on, Alexander, we need that pick six. Yeah, as good as Alexander was, he dropped a sure interception. That would have changed everything. Kurt was saying that Stafford could kiss my ass, too. Yep, Kurt's funny. Brett McCarthy was saying how to catch the ball, this and that. Yep, Cedric Paulding says Shermer needs to get this offense going. He lost his groove after the Wildcats debacle. This officiating crew needs to be fined for the horrible job they're doing this game. Brett McCarthy was saying, let's go Vikings, need a touchdown. Cedric Paulding, again, very active in this show. He was saying awful play calling and piss poor clock management. Take the points and trust your defense, coach. And that's when the Vikings should have kicked the field goal, and they missed. They failed in the fourth down. Just a futile effort. It was depressing, as Mark Carlson said there. And then Adam Thielen fumbled the ball away when the Vikings put the Lions on 3-and-out once again, like they did it several times today. James Beck was saying, oh, Adam, no. And Mark Carlson says, that's it. Wham, it's finished. Josh Mayer-Henry out of Colorado says, the Lions are the Vikings' kryptonite. We cannot play a good game against them at all, and it never happens. And Cedric Paulding is from Mississippi. He says that's what, 4 in a row now to the Lions, and it pretty much is, and the Vikings haven't beaten the Lions in forever. It's ridiculous. Remember, we got beat pretty handily in 2014 against the Lions. Brett McCarthy says, any news on Cook? And at that point, the news continued to kind of head that direction. It's not official yet, but I doubt they're wrong. Todd Vandermeer out of Indiana says, and I do remember Todd very well. Nice to hear from him again. He says, terrible, ugly game. Seems as if Zimmer didn't have the team ready to play again today. It was a terrible, ugly game, and it did make you wonder. The offense just was not in it, and Keenum was just inaccurate. You can't blame it. Thielen fumbling that ball was devastating, but it's like, Keenum missed so many passes in this game, and Remmers and others were giving up sacks, and it's just, I don't know. It wasn't the penalty fest like the Pittsburgh game so much as it was just, I don't know, and there were a lot of non-calls by the referees and plays that probably could have been completed and would have been game changers possibly. That one to Treadwell could have been something nice. It's too bad. Cedric Paulding puts up a meme saying, geez, not this shit again. Kurt Back out of White Bear Lake, and Boston Scientific as well. He says, one of the worst games I've seen played. So good one weekend, like high school players the next weekend. So typical Vikings. I'm done. He says, quote unquote game plan. Okay, when we hike the ball to number 74, you run the wrong way and spin a couple circles. Kiss my ass. Yep, he was pissed off there, and he says, only shred of hope is you bring back Bridgewater? Question mark. And that might be exactly what it is. The only shred of hope is Bridgewater coming off the pup list, because, it's almost over, and we're kind of counting on that. No, so you did get post-game thoughts in, Kurt. At one point I was texting saying you didn't post it in the post-game thoughts, but no, I was going to read them anyway, because at least they're at the end of the in-game. That's why I always try to check the in-game. There's always kind of interesting stuff. Brett McCarthy again was asking any news on Cook. I was saying, at that point, nothing immediately. And then Rick Elmer says, ACL done for the year. And Brett McCarthy simply says, dang. And Sebastian Barton says, Wildcat needs to have stayed thrown away. Yep, it's utter rubbish. Tony Coleman out of South Dakota says 2-2 sounds a hell of a lot worse than 3-1. Sigh. Jacob Etterheim says, just remember there is a difference between constructive criticism and straight-out bashing. We are all Viking fans and want them to succeed. Also, don't be a quitter and say the season is over. There are still 12 games. Anything can happen. And yes, that's very true. It just looks awfully bleak right now, Jacob, if you happen to be listening. Hopefully he's a listener, not just a poster. Because the people that do both are superstars, and I thank you very much. Tony Coleman's been doing it for the better part of 8 years. Pretty awesome. Because I met him in, 2009. He goes way, way, way back to the sportstuff.com message boards. So, pretty awesome. So, I still remember his screen name, Twineball. Can you believe that? Yeah, it's crazy. But no, good thoughts, Jacob. Yes, that's the one thing that keeps me going is crazy things happen. I mean, you see teams start off 1-3 and they finish the season 10-6, stuff like that. You see them even finish 11-5 sometimes. The whole RELAX, that kind of nonsense. And I mean, the Packers do their miracle comebacks every year. Like last year, they looked like they were going down they were going off the ends of the earth if the earth was flat. And that's why I don't really follow NBA players' political opinions too strongly, because they believe the earth is flat, half of them. You want to believe they're kidding, but I'm not sure they are. It's like you want to tell them, like one day I just threw it was kind of getting to be like getting close to sunset, kind of like, it was like late afternoon, like 5 p.m., whatever, in the summertime. Not quite. Yeah, 5 p.m., something like that. It might have been later because it's summer. But when the sun is significantly in the west, and I threw this baseball up in the air, and the way the light curved around the ball, to me, that's proof enough that the earth is round, because look at the way the sunlight curves around us. Yeah. The earth is not flat. If it was flat, it wouldn't look that way. So, I don't know, pretty dumb. And obviously all of you out there know that anyway. It's just like, just throw a baseball up in the sky and watch the sunlight hit it. Come on, people. Brett McCarthy says a lot of blown opportunities and dumb mistakes. Gerald String wraps up the section saying, can't remember losing 3 in a row to Detroit in recent history, getting to be a very frustrating matchup for us. And it's extremely frustrating. I've always had this thing with Detroit. I can't stand them, and their fan base is just kind of, they're annoying. They really are annoying. Packer fans are annoying. Lion fans are annoying too. God, I mean, I got in a pretty big thing with them back in the 10 years ago. Wow, when Tavares Jackson had his awesome 4-interception game. I remember that in Detroit, and then John Kitna was lousy too, and it's just a terrible bleeping game, and the Vikings lost in overtime, and the Lions fans are like all taunting us like they're so great. It's just like, so what? I mean, your team sucks so hard. You know, it's a miracle that you guys won the game, and you're taunting us? Give me a break. So, the final post here is Vikings' initial diagnosis is that Dalvin Cook has a nearly complete ACL tear. It's not official, but they are fearing the worst. Yeah. Ali Sidikai, who I encouraged to post his articles on here. Again, he stopped for a while, and I hope I didn't offend him or scare him away for some reason. He says, we can never have good things, and that it really sucks. Yeah, because I was saying never. In a curse, it's a curse, and in the worst way, 56 years, and things never change, and they never really do. That's why I always say that song from the mid-'80s, like, some things never change the way it is. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the Vikings theme song. You could make a video with all the heartbreaking things, getting all the way back to the Kansas City Super Bowl. Super Bowl 4, Vikings favored by 18, and they got crushed in that game. Vikings missing key tackles in the Miami Dolphins Super Bowl, the Pittsburgh Super Bowl, just unable to stop the Steelers in just key moments in that game way back in the day. Fumbling at the goal line on the opening drive against the Raiders in the final Super Bowl appearance 41 years ago now against John Madden's Oakland Raiders. They were Oakland, the original Oakland Raiders, before they moved to L.A., then back to Oakland, and now to Vegas very soon. Just key missed tackles. I mean, I remember, I sat there watching Super Bowl videos of the Vikings and such, and it's just, to study, and it's the exact same junk you see today. Like, when you can't bring Matthew Stafford down in 3rd and 17, just bring the guy bleeping down. It's the same junk, like the best defense ever, purple people eaters, and they just can't make that key tackle, 3rd and long, 3rd and 9, whatever it is, for some Mickey frickin' reason. And things just continue to snowball the way they do from that point. That's not hatred for the team. It's just hatred of losing. That's exactly what it is. James Beck did post something on Monday, so I will give it attention here. He says, did someone on here once comment about Game Pass Europe not cutting ads out of full games? Either way, looks as though that has been fixed now. Happy days. And I think that may have been Mad Martin, your buddy Mad Martin, because he is over in that same area. James Beck is from the UK, and I thank you so much for your contributions, your listenership, James Beck, and of course Mad Martin as well. So let's pass out some stars today, huh? Shall we pass out some stars? Gold star today? Boy, it's tough. And I'm actually remembering to do it. I'm not screwing that up. Gold star today. Ooh, boy. Lots of contributions again. Appreciate it. Always. Love that call and the patriotism by Mad Martin and all that. Just awesome. Gold star today. I keep going back and forth. It's tough. Cedric Paulding is going to get the gold star today. Silver star is going to go to Mad Martin and Leland. They're both going to get silver stars, so add that to your trophy case, both of you, because Leland's got some stars put away, and I'm glad. And he always deserves stars. You guys are so awesome. Bronze star is today. James Beck. James Beck is going to get the bronze star today. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much for your listenership, for your kindness, and your continued following. I love all of you so much. Had conversations off the air with Gerald Sring off and on the last few weeks here. Just a great patriot, loves this country, and as frustrated as I am with what's been going on. And I appreciate Mad Martin saying to relax. And yeah, I need to. It's good to calm down a little bit. But at the same time, yeah, he's saying, hey, it's worse over here. These people don't even respect their own country. What was annoying as hell, though, is how we didn't stand for the national anthem, yet we stood for God Save the Queen. And that's not meaning diss British. It's meaning you're really dissing your own country, though. That's kind of weird. So that is the worst part, like teams like Baltimore and Jacksonville last week. What the hell was that? Again, I'm not dissing the UK by saying that. I am not. I love England. I love you guys that call. God, I love you. Call or post or whatever. It's just, though, would you like that if your players did that to you? Like if you had players come to the United States and they would sit and say, screw that, about England, and then, hell yeah, go U.S., I don't think you'd like that either. It's not very good, maybe stand for both, be respectful for both. How about that? That would probably be better, right? So, I don't know. That's just me. I'll try not to get too far, though. Maybe I'm going a little bit too crazy here, and I need to RELAX. And hopefully Viking fans are able to do that. Thank God for Latavius Murray. Hopefully he can fill in and do a good job. This is your chance, Latavius. This is your chance. You wanted to get more snaps. I'm sure he did. He was looking forward to it. Wasn't expecting the Vikings to take Dalvin Cook. Maybe they told him behind the scenes if somebody like that does somehow wind up there, including a Joe Mixon, we could go that direction. And I don't know. Latavius Murray, this is your chance to get some more carries. You're going to get a lot of them. And Jerick McKinnon, you better play better than you did today, because that was bad. That was an awful game by Jerick McKinnon. Awful. Well-deserved Christian Ponder Memorial for him today. Well-deserved. So with that, wishing all of you a nice week. Man, this show was short. Now it's long again. Jeez, these are going like an hour and a half lately. My frustration and my anger, but also enjoying that roundup. Maybe I need to short the roundup a little bit. I think I go on a little too long there, so apologize for you for that. But I guess it's for your listening pleasure, and you can always kind of stop and come back to it during the week. It's not like you got to sit and listen to the whole damn thing in one session, and you got to sit with your hands folded staring at a computer screen, because that's not true. You could be doing anything. You could be cleaning dishes. You could be doing your bank account. You could be vacuuming the floor, as long as you wear those 3Ms or whatever, like covering your earphones so you block out the sound a little bit. You could be watching some football game that you don't care about too much and on silent while listening. Whatever it is. And rooting on the Twins this week. Good luck to the Twins. Knock off those damn Yankees once and for all. Get to that ALDS, and you know what? Take your chances. You never know. Who would have thought the 87 Twins were going to beat the 98-win Detroit Tigers that year? But they did. That's right. They did. Who would have thought the Twins would beat the St. Louis Cardinals, who'd won the 82 World Series 5 years ago and had been to the World Series just 2 years before? An excellent team. And they did. So let's hope for the best. If the Twins get past the New York Yankees, anything could happen. So please, for the love of God, get past the New York Yankees. That would be nice. Going to be a nice, cool week. Hopefully we can stay dry and avoid the rain a bit. Doesn't look like it's going to be as bad as initially thought, but we'll see. Yeah, it sounds like in Iowa they get a lot of rain, a lot of wind. The wind part's good, but the rain isn't. Ugh. It's good for the corn, but not all the time. You don't want to flood the frickin' corn or any other crops or whatever that might be there in the farms there or in southern Minnesota. There's a lot of farms in southern Minnesota too. So God bless all of you. Have a good week. Pray for a Vikings victory to end that Soldier Field drought.